we are.
Hey! We're back.
Let's see what I can do here.
And Cheryl is putting us on some sites so we can be seen on several sites.
Okay, so let me get us shared. This is different from mine. Okay. Oops, I shared it twice. I don't know what I'm doing now. Oh, here we go. Hi, Michael.
So we're going to start out with a song called An Evensong of Upmeads. The lyrics were written by William Morris. They're actually a song that appears in a novel as a literary song. In other words, there's no melody, it's just the lyrics. And the novel, The World's End, that comes from is probably the first great fantasy novel, and certainly paves the way toward the 20th century fantasy novel that we know from J.R.R. Tolkien. And this is called An Evensong of Upmeads.
Well, I'm still going through your groups here because you have a gazillion of them and it takes me forever.
Art thou a man, art thou made, through the long grass a-going, for long shirt thou bearest, and no beard I see, and the last wind ere moonrise about thee is blowing. Wouldst thou meet with thy maiden, or look'st thou for me? Bright shineth the moon now, I see thy gown longer, down by the hazels Joan meeteth her lad. But hard is thy palm, lass, scarcely were stronger, what's grip than thine hand kiss that maketh me glad? And now as the candles shine on us and over, for shapely thy feet are, but brown on the floor, as the barefooted mowers amidst of the clover, when the ghost note is broken and mid-June is o'er. And will I follow thee till the earth waneth away? Yes, I will follow thee. Oh, hard is my pond, because on the ridges I carried the reap hook and smote for thy sake. And in the hot noontide I swept off the midges, as thou slepst 'neath the linden, or loath to awake. And brown are my feet, because the sun burneth, high up on the downside amidst of the sheep. And there in the hollow, where from the wind turneth, thou lay'st in my lap whilst I sung thee to sleep. And will I follow thee till the earth waneth away? Yes, I will follow thee. O friend of the earth, come nigher and nigher. Thou art sweet with the sun's kiss as meads of the maid. O'er the rocks of the waste, o'er the water and fire, will I follow thee, love, till earth waneth away. I was supposed to use a flat pick for that.
Oh, well. Once you get started,
my.
you're started.
So we have something tonight that we, this afternoon we worked out. So, you know, we're taking our chances here, you know. But we know that you're with us. So, hey. This is a song we did 2 weeks ago, which was the last show. And we had just rearranged it that day, and I had rewritten it. And just today I added another instrumental part to it.
Just to keep us on our toes.
Just to keep us on our toes and make life a little bit risky. So this is called von Lindemann's Engine, and there is no von Lindemann. This is a fantasy, and it's a fantasy. It's a dream, and I think you'll find out it's not what it seems to be at the very outset. So we'll be listening for that, the real truth about what's really going on in this song. The champagne is poured as we all raise a cheer. We carry von Lindemann high. We all start to dance through the streets of the city as diamonds fall out of the sky. We've cleaned up our city, once covered in soot. Now the coal remains under the ground, and the sound of small diamonds that shimmer and hiss are the loudest industrial sound. The oceans got higher, the hurricanes blew, while the starving outnumbered the poor. Now von Lindemann's engine is clearing the sky, and the CO2's falling once more. Maybe I'm in a coma, hooked up to some sparkling machine. But if that's true, don't make me. I'd much rather dance in my dream. Please, doctor, the diamonds, they shimmer and hiss in my sleep. The wind and the sun and the hydrogen algae and the tides and the currents provide the energy driving von Lindemann's engine, the source of our glittering pride. All nature's our goddess, or so we'll pretend. Now we're freed from the black fossil yoke, and we've also two demons that live underground, demon brothers together called coal. Maybe I'm in a coma, hooked up to some sparkling machine. But if that's true, don't wake me, I'd much rather dance than my dream. Please, doctor, the diamonds, they shimmer and hiss in my sleep. Champagne is poured, we'll all raise a cheer, we'll carry Von Lindemann high. We all start to dance through the streets of the city as diamonds fall out of the sky. That was Von Lindemann's Engine. Hope you liked it. I worried about it being comprehensible, but I think it's a lot clearer now that we've revised it and we've changed it around quite a bit. We're going to do a...
Let's say hi to some people first before we go on to the next one. So
sure.
We have Michael.
Hi, Michael.
Is watching, and Michael, it's good to hear from you. It's been a week of vacation, and yes, we got some really nice boat pictures posted on Facebook. Joe Giglio, so good to hear you again this afternoon, Joe. And Joe usually plays shows, great guitarist, usually plays shows on Sunday afternoons at 2 o'clock. Although he did give us a little teaser and say maybe he'll do it next week, maybe he won't. So we'll keep our fingers crossed, and maybe we'll see Joe on next Sunday. And who else? Oh, John Walsh. Hi, John. And John Martucci, all the Johns.
Hey, John.
Yeah, and I don't see Mom on here, but I hope you're watching, Mom. And this is a lovely song that Kurt wrote for our wedding anniversary.
World, enough anywhere with you by my side, halfway through love's day. We pause, watching as the time passes by. Love's enough as the waters rise on the sand, on the shrinking shore. We walk side by side with hand held in hand. Love's enough to fill up all our day. Only love's enough for us. Love's enough to help us wend our way, and it's in our love we trust. Time all our song. It's there among the leaves that change, sighing as the wind moves them on. Love's enough to fill up all our days. Only love's enough for us. Love's enough to help us wend our way, and it's in our love we trust. Love's enough, lasting through the hours of our day, hours that pass us by. These dreams, lovely as they fall, soft away. That was Love's Enough. So this next song is today our featured poet for this episode of 9 Mile Swamp is Thomas Hardy. And Thomas Hardy, I think a lot of people know who he is. I remember when I was in high school that it seemed that all the girls did book reports on Tessa the D'Urbervilles, which I'm not really sure about. I'm not really sure why it would be a novel for schoolgirls. Maybe as a warning to them about yeah, unscrupulous men, perhaps.
Is it banned? Is it a banned book today?
Is it a banned book today? You know, I don't know if any Thomas Hardy is banned, but I would imagine that Jude the Obscure would probably be banned if geez, I just said the word now. Hey, hello out there, people who ban books. Check out Jude the Obscure.
No, don't. But anyway.
But anyhow, Jude the Obscure is a story about a young man, Jude Fawley, who has extremely high ideals, and those ideals have to do with both religion and education. And one of the high points in the book, you know, it's it is actually a scene of the sublime, where Jude is kneeling down. He's climbed up a ladder onto a roof, and he's kneeling and looking in the city, and he's looking and he sees the city of Christminster, which is Thomas Hardy's version of Oxford. And he sees the lights of the beautiful Gothic buildings, and he is in a complete state of awe and bliss. And the reality of his experience is that he never gets to attend this. What he does get to do, and it's kind of sad and pathetic, is he at one point makes pastries in the shapes of the Gothic buildings, and that's as close as he ever gets to Oxford. But anyway, it is a remarkable book. Hardy's books are oftentimes misunderstood because people think he's writing them about the time in which he lived. He was writing a lot in the Victorian period, you know, later in the century. But his books, for the most part, are about early in the century when there was an extreme amount of starvation and poverty. It was the years of the Corn Laws. So if you ever read a Thomas Hardy book, bear in mind he's writing about a period 40 or 50 years before his writing of the books. And it's one more thing. Thomas Hardy got such terrible reviews for his books, especially Jude the Obscure, which was reviewed as Jude the Obscene, which it's not.
Definitely bad.
And anyhow, he was so frustrated by the reviews that he vowed never to write another novel again. And Jude the Obscure was his last novel. But he survived for another 30 years or so. Lived to be like 88 or something. And during the rest of his life, you know, going into the 20th century, he became strictly a poet and also a reviser. He went back and rewrote every single one of his novels taking out all the editorial things in it that he didn't like, and put them out the way he wanted them to be. And that's one of the things that makes Thomas Hardy, I think, the best novelist of the 19th century. There's nobody better. So if you think you don't like a classic, maybe read The Woodlanders and you'll get a little bit of laughter. Read Tess of the D'Urbervilles and find out how modern the themes are. Thomas Hardy. This is called Fawley's Hymn. And based on Jude's moment glancing at Christminster. I kneel unto the distant spires and windows cold as ice. I'll bend my thoughts to Christminster until the day I die. The laurel crown of Christminster, the city's holy light, the glory ground beneath the moon of my eternal night. The sun slips past the darkling heath. My path seems dim by night. Then up the moon and tips the glow through rills of elfin light and lights the lights of Christminster, the city's holy light, the glory ground beneath the moon of my eternal night. I kneel unto the distant spires and windows cold as ice. I'll bend my thoughts to Christminster until the day I die. Fawley's Hymn. And Hardy was definitely an anti-war person. He was also pretty much an anti-religion person. But his poems about war, I'm going to read you one that takes place just at the beginning of World War I. In fact, they all do. And I'm going to read two poems that are based upon the absurdity of warfare, and then I'm going to read you a poem sort of a sad poem about the ending of a love affair. Hardy is really a marvelous poet. And as dark as he can sometimes be, he also can be extremely humorous, and I think people forget that about Hardy. Whenever I read a review of Hardy, it's inevitable I'm going to come across the phrase gloom and doom somewhere, but it's just not the way I see it. This one is called The Man He Killed. Had he and I but met by some old ancient inn, we should have sat us down to wet right many a nipperkin. But ranged as infantry, and staring face to face, I shot at him and he at me, and killed him in his place. I shot him dead because he was my foe. Just so. My foe, of course he was. That's clear enough, although. He thought he'd enlist, perhaps, offhand, like, just as I was out of work, had sold his traps, no other reason why. Yes, quaint and curious war is. You shoot a fellow down. You treat if met where any bar is, or help to half a crown. The Man He Killed. This one is called channel firing, and the channel firing refers to the naval testing of guns and the thunderous sound of the kind of cannons they had developed toward World War I, which were way huger than anything Napoleon ever had. And the cannon is so loud that it wakes up the dead from other wars. And here's what they have to say about it. That night, your great guns, unawares, shook all our coffins as we lay, and broke the chancel window squares. We thought it was the judgment day, and sat upright, while drearisome arose the howl of wakened hounds. The mouse let fall the altar crumb. The worms drew back into the mounds. The glebe cow drooled till God called, "No, it's gunnery practice out at sea." Just as before you went below, the world is as it used to be. All nations striving strong to make red war yet redder. Mad as hatters, they do no more for Christ's sake than you who are helpless in such matters. That this is not the judgment hour for some of them's a blessed thing. For if it were, they'd have to scour hell's floor for so much threatening. Ha ha! It will be warmer when I blow the trumpet, if indeed I ever do, for you are men, and rest eternal sorely need. So down we lay again. I wonder will the world ever saner be, said one, than when he sent us under in our indifferent century. And many a skeleton shook his head. Instead of preaching 40 year, my neighbor Parson Thirdly said, I wish I had stuck to pipes and beer. Again, the guns disturbed the hour, roaring their readiness to avenge. As far inland as Stourton Tower and Camelot and starlit Stonehenge. And this last one is kind of a sad end of love poem called Neutral Tones. And it's been anthologized many, many times, and possibly one of the best known short poems of Thomas Hardy. Neutral Tones. We stood by a pond that winter day, and the sun was white, as though chidden of God, and a few leaves lay on the starving sod. They had fallen from an ash and were gray. Your eyes on me were as eyes that rove over tedious riddles of years ago, and some words played between us to and fro. on which lost the more by our love. The smile on your mouth was the deadest thing, alive enough to have strength to die, and a grin of bitterness swept thereby like an ominous bird a-wing. Since then, keen lessons that love deceives and rings with wrong have shaped to me your face, and the God-cursed sun, and a tree, and a pond edged with grayish leaves. Neutral tones. Thomas Hardy.
Swat that fly.
Swat that fly.
Enjoy going in your wine.
Yeah, I did. Well, that's not allowed. Pop your own cork wine.
So last week we didn't have our 9 Mile Swamp because we were at the sweltering Rosendale Street Festival.
This week we didn't have a sweltering concert.
This past Saturday, last night, we did not have our concert at Gallo Park in Kingston because they deemed it too hot, which it indeed is. So it's rescheduled for next Saturday. But we also have a couple more gigs coming up this week. We have Thursday night, if you live near the walkway over the Hudson, on the Highland side, the Parks Service, in conjunction with the Hudson Valley Folk Guild, are putting on Thursday night concerts, and Kurt and I, are the featured act for this coming up Thursday. It's an hour, 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock on the Highland side. So come join us at the walkway over the Hudson. And then on Friday, our band, Dognose, Kirk Henry and Dognose, is playing at the Mama Kading Farmers Market, and that's held in Wawarsing. And that's from 4 to 7. So you can hear music, you can get great fresh farm goods. And then again on Saturday the 30th, we'll be at Gallo Park from 7 to 8:30. And after us, a great local historian, Stephen Blauweiss, is doing a presentation on his history of Kingston. He and his wife have a new book out. And we can pick up ours too, probably on Saturday, with gorgeous pictures and a history of the city of Kingston. So lots to do. Come out and join us if you can.
So this next song is kind of a homage to one of my favorite 60s band, The Byrds. And I was fortunate I got to open up for The Byrds a couple times. And that was the non plus ultra for me at the time. And another thing about the 60s that I like to remember is that it's people tend to ridicule it now, the whole hippie thing and all that. But I remember it as a time when people did their best to get along, and I don't think that love is such a bad thing. So this is kind of an homage to that, and it's called On a Summer Tide. And if you get a chance to hear the record, which I hope you do, I tried to imitate some of McGuinn's 12-string guitar, and I didn't have a fabulous Rickenbacker like his Rickenbacker. They're very expensive, and to buy a guitar like that for one song is kind of out of the question. So I had a cheap guitar I made with a Masonite body by Dan Electro, 12-string, and it was a 12-string, and it got the 12-string sound, but it was kind of not so good sounding. So I took my electric guitar and doubled everything I played note for note on it, and so it almost sounds like a 12-string. It's pretty fun if you get a chance to hear it. It's really fun.
Is that on Dogmas?
It is on Catskill Dogs.
Catskill Dogs on our website.
Are you ready, Lo?
I'm ready.
On a summer tide, we were riding on the wind. We sang songs of mirth and power that would set the world to spin. On a summer tide, we were carried by our light. We were proof against the darkness. We were fire in the night. On a summer night. the run, we run faster, breaking through on a summertime. We spun freedom into form, we wove hearts and minds together in a rising summer storm on a summertime. We swayed softly in the breeze, using sounds and words of kindness. We would gently rock the trees on a summertime. There were voices in a stream, inspirations in a breeze. There was meaning to our dreams, there was whispering in the trees, reason in the sun, imagination in the moon. And if time was on the run, we'd run faster, breaking through. On a winter day, it is clear and oh so cold. There is space and time between us, and still so much left untold. On a winter day, I can see across the years, and though oft my thoughts are barren, you will sometimes reappear on a summertime. There were voices in the stream, inspirations in the breeze. There was meaning to our dreams, there was whispering in the trees, reason in the sun, imagination in the moon. And if time was on the run, we'd run faster, breaking through. We were proof against the darkness, we were fire in the night on a summertime. Summertime. And that is dedicated to my old friend Felix Triever. And, oh, hey, whatever happened?
Okay, whatever happened to practicing this song?
I know it.
Oh,
We
it's
forgot
key
to
and
practice
everything.
it.
Okay.
That's okay.
We'll just see what happens.
Alrighty.
We'll start over.
I wander aimlessly down empty streets, wondering whatever happened to our song of love. I keep on hoping, love, that we will meet. Suddenly I realize I won't be enough. Years go by, I know we tried, but it's not good enough to cry. Your angry words ring loud and true. But now and then I think again, and I remember back to when our lives together seemed so new. Walk on like you don't even know me. Talk on to the man who was trying to be me. I see you stepping out, you seem so proud, dancing. Whatever happened to our song? running with a whole new crowd. Baby, it's plain to see you moved along. Eyes made act like you know me from somewhere. I see that you don't want to show that you still care. I've got my own life now, I'm doing fine, really. I'm doing everything I want. The things I'm doing take up all my time. Can't you see, I'm really quite content you're gone. Go by, I know we tried, but it's not good enough to cry. Your angry words ring loud and true. But now and then I think again, and I remember back to when our lives together seemed so new. Well, there was a funny thing I did at the chords at the end, but here's a song I wrote about Cheryl and I running together when we used to do that. Now we walk together and cycle together, but we still have this song.
I think it just started pouring out. I hear it. I hear the rain.
It is raining.
We had a flickering of the lights there for a second. So if we lose you, you'll know why. Thank you for joining us, and thanks for dropping us a line. And I see, is that Shelley? Shelley Lipton. Hi, Shelley.
Hi, Shelley. Let's tune this guitar.
Tune it up too? That's pretty good.
Damn it, the last song is going to be in tune.
So you can check out our website, dognoseband.com or kurthenry.com. We have CDs there. If you purchase a CD, we match the price and donate that money to a local food pantry. You can also see our calendar to see the shows that are coming up.
And don't forget that the phrase dog knows is the answer to all of life's insoluble problems.
Dog, K-N-O-W-S.
Dog knows. Okay.
Running together.
Running together. Oops.
Let's hear it.
Let's turn up the guitar together. I believed in you when I was still lonely. A shadow that ran out before me, just around the bend, slipping through the misty trees, and I struggled ever faster, but fell behind you. Still I was alone, but I was feeling stronger. I found freedom in motion and wonder. I reached out to you, and you hold me close and warm, just like angels on that sun without ending. Two of us running together, chasing the sunlight from the mountains. The night comes from the east,